everybody. Welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. We're at episode 633. This is being recorded on June 16, 2021. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Holstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Spernberg, and I did send out an email. It just, you haven't gotten it yet.
And I'm Kent Burgess, and I haven't gotten the email either.
I got the email. That's how I knew I had to do the show tonight. Yeah. And you can be notified, like me, when we're going to be going live by going to pcper.com/subscribe and join our spam list, where we'll send you an email every week that says, hey, we're about to go live, or any other special event. And then you can also support the site. This is where we go all NPR on you for like 30 seconds. Don't worry, it's not going to be too long. Support the site, patreon.com/pcper. Brett, news on that front.
You know, we do have some news on that front, and I want to thank everybody very much for the continued support that they've been able to do.
On this mixer? Let's see.
Can you bring me down to NPR level, please? Are we there
You've
yet?
already done that to yourself.
Okay. All right. But in all seriousness, thanks everybody for your continued support on Patreon. It's what keeps the wheels on this bizarre bus spinning around. We really appreciate it. Last week, we had some really special people near and dear to my heart. But last week, there was also someone who came in late and tried to comment on something that we were doing. And unfortunately, I missed it until tonight. So I wanted to give them a very special thank you. And they changed their name to Touch My Ground Loop, if we can recall what that means. Josh, can you demonstrate the ground loop for us, please, while we wait for that? There it is. Blessed ground loop. And thank you very much for your support. And the ground loop, this one's for you this week.
Yes, the holy ground loop. Josh, speaking of ground
loops.
beef,
ground
burgers,
beef.
It's not much of a stretch. Burger of the week.
I'll tell you, it was a classic this week. It was probably one of the better ones I've ever had there. And that's saying a lot because I'm a big fan of that. But I tweeted out today. Today looks like a fiesta, and it was. It's the Fiesta Burger. The Fiesta Burger is comprised of 2 beef patties topped with guacamole, chipotle, sour cream, fresh cut jalapenos, diced tomatoes, shredded lettuce, topped by shredded cheddar cheese. It was literally a party in my mouth. And the fries were a little overdone, but not horribly so, but still quite tasty. And let me tell you, that combination of the ground beef, it was like a great street taco in burger form. It was absolutely fantastic. And I don't know how long they're going to have it here, but you should make a trip to Laramie, Wyoming for the Fiesta Burger because it's that good.
It's okay. If you were to rank these burger list, where is this?
This is a 9.5.
Really?
9.5 out of 10, yeah. It's a good one.
Was it one of your top 5 this year?
I'd say so, yeah. Easy. And it didn't make me feel nearly as bad as the Krakatoa burger, so.
AMD, big announcement this morning. Not really, though. And they didn't even tweet about it. They've retweeted a couple of their system integrator partners. But this kind of came out of the blue, although we'd seen some leaks, some pictures that had come up and been taken down. But I'm talking about the Radeon RX 6900 XT LC, or liquid cooled, which I'm on the main gear page. Some people were citing main gear this morning. I double checked my email. I did not get a press release from AMD for this, but it says fast just got faster. The 6900 XT liquid cooled graphics card featuring the breakthrough RDNA 2 architecture, top of the line graphics card, and it's got a 120 millimeter radiator on it. In an era where we've shifted to 240s for the AIO equipped graphics cards, some comments about that on social media today, because this is a 330 watt card, I believe. So let's hope that is enough. Actual specs on this, I think it was Tech Power.
Wait, can you actually click on buy now and see if you can get it?
Well, I can buy a whole main gear PC. with it now.
Oh,
Because this is only being released through system integrators right now. I assume OEM as well, but it's not being distributed in the public retail channel.
People that want it,
Right. Well, yeah. I mean,
it's okay. The miners would poach it anyways.
exactly. So as is being reported by Tech Power Up, 12% higher core and memory clocks, 10% higher power. Here is a slide. This is apparently via video cards. So the 6900 XT LC has a 2250 megahertz game clock, up from 2015 with the non-liquid cooled version, and the TDP is up 30 watts, or total board power, TBP. What do you guys think? You excited?
Can't wait.
Yay!
I noticed when Digital Storm tweeted about it, it's a little ominous. It says,
Do you think they'll ship with it? Think they'll get some?
well, let's see here. 'Cause
Digital Storm actually builds really high-end stuff, so probably, yeah.
Well, their tweet is, this just in, new AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT liquid cooled, limited run only.
Oh.
So this isn't going to be around for very long.
Sounds like more of an observation than an endorsement. Yeah, this is going to be around long. Well,
It's like, hey, they made 100 of these. We're so excited. Order today.
Yeah, that's kind of it, yeah.
I think it was maybe Power Color who had kind of leaked this early. Anyway, I don't hear a lot of excitement about this card. It's not new silicon, but it's running faster because it's liquid cooled.
It is running. I mean, 200 plus megahertz on game clock. That's kind of impressive. I'm kind of curious how it handles some of the other cooling around the card, because some of those, power phases like to have some actual air blowing over them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We've seen
Yeah,
designs
they're strange that way.
where you have like the blower fan for the VRMs and then everything else goes out to the AIO. And in those cases, the 120 makes perfect sense. If they're cooling everything off of this, it'll probably reach a saturation point with that liquid. You'd think that a loop that small would not be able to withstand 330 watts. Maybe not. By the way,
Well, I mean, it's only 30 more than the base card, which is air cooled. So
but it's a
yeah, in
triple
theory.
fan.
True.
I don't know.
It is.
Well, think of it this way. They needed to get rid of those 9590 all-in-one liquid cooler solutions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of what I was seeing. Be interesting to see if you can flash your 6900 to this if you've actually got third-party water cooling.
And
That could be interesting.
Those 295 X2s, they pulled enough power. I think Ryan had to do 2 power supplies for the SLI setup. 1,000 watt plus, like another 750 or something for the second
Wow.
GPU.
Crossfire, not SLI.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sorry, AMD.
Could have gotten in trouble.
Not scanline interleave. That's 3DF.
Definitely not.
No, that was
Right.
a much better implementation.
Going once, going twice, gone on that story. Windows 11. None other than Paul
Ouch.
Throt has offered his first impressions. He's
Wait,
putting
wait.
out- What?
Wasn't Windows 10 the last version of Windows ever? I mean,
look,
what happened
times
here?
change.
This is the last time that asking the question what version of Windows you were on would make sense, because Windows as a service is now.
That's right. That was the story. It's been that way for a long time. What happened?
Followers of Paul
6
Throt
years.
will know that it's been at least a couple of years since he started doing pretty much exactly this, which is creating a Windows desktop experience that looks like OS 10.
That doesn't look like OS 10. That looks like
the
Windows
so I need you to-
okay.
X or whatever.
I need you to click on the start button in the lower left-hand corner. There's nothing there.
Ah.
What do you mean? It's always there.
Okay.
It's always there.
Brett, I would hope that you've used Mac OS enough to know that the
Look.
dock with the centered large icons.
My docs are all on the left.
That's okay. That's not the way it ships, but this, and you can move this dock to the left too. But this, and even the start menu that comes up looks an awful lot like the settings panel of Mac OS in the Big Sur era. So it's just kind of
But
like.
did you have widgets?
Yeah, they have widgets.
Widgets are coming back.
Are they?
Yeah.
Anyway,
they
it's
not
Windows
very
11.
useful.
21.966.1 is the dev build that's been out there. It's been leaked. Some mega upload. You could just get the ISO. He has articles about like clean installing it, and just there's different screenshots what it looks like. What it looks like is Windows 10.1. So, they did Windows 8, and then 8.1 was quite.
Didn't
a
you
bit
mean
different.
10X?
Yes, that's what I was talking about. Windows 10X.
The one
right,
that died,
right. Yeah,
except
this is
it didn't.
basically-
It just got
yeah.
rebranded.
Do you think that's what they did here?
No,
You think somebody just
it
leaked
sort of
10x
looks-
and changed a few
They-
files so it reads Windows 11?
They
Or
kind
is
of
this real?
they kind of borrowed some design elements, though.
Yeah, I mean, Windows borrowed some design elements from the Macintosh, and then Bill Gates's argument in court was, "Well, we both stole it from Xerox."
Right. Great artists steal. Great artists steal, and that's a
No,
quote.
what Jobs said was great artists ship. So apparently Gates did both.
Thought it was
Anyway.
steal.
You don't have to steal. I guess we'll just move on from this. This is gonna be the fastest podcast ever. We'll spend 45 minutes on the Meshlicious. Noctua. We talked about this last week. The NHP1. Fanless enthusiasts collectively orgasmed as this product went on sale at Newegg, and then all the orders were canceled.
Oh no.
And Noctua slapped Newegg's wrist and said, no, this isn't for sale. And it's not $100 either. It's actually $109.90. Of course, I'm talking about...
That seems like a lot of money for like no moving parts.
Hey, look.
That's what costs the money.
Right. They've spent so much time and money engineering this thing. They can't... Look, you get a screwdriver, though. Look at that.
Okay.
A
all right, it's
Noctua
nice.
branded
Yep.
screwdriver.
It's nice.
It's longer than the usual Noctuas too.
It looks like a Torx end on it,
does.
perhaps?
Yeah, it does.
Yep, it will be.
Oh, great.
Did you read about their optional fan for their fanless
Yes, I did.
cooler?
Yes.
The $30 fan.
Which sounds like a nice fan. It's a 120 millimeter, like 12 decibel fan.
I
We got
think it's
some numbers.
charming.
We got some numbers.
I think it's
Okay.
absolutely charming. But they label it as semi-passive. Why would they do that?
Okay, what can somebody translate this for me?
Because passive aggressive doesn't ring the right bells for
I'm just gonna
marketers.
Google it because everybody's ignoring me.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right. It's all you.
1,180 grams. It is 2.601 pounds.
Ooh.
So last week, I think Jeremy said it was 3 pounds. So that's, probably with mounting mechanism and stuff, it is. So just the heatsink without a fan is 2.6 pounds. It's copper that's the base and the heat pipes, aluminum cooling fins. They're really thick aluminum. And this number here interested me because they don't list TDPs. NSPR. What is NSPR? And the
Isn't that what they
NSPR
chiseled on top of the arches when they built a new building in Italy?
Yeah,
Yes.
or SPQR, but that was a
Whatever.
different time.
Yeah.
But don't worry, the NSPR is not NSFW. You don't have to mute if you're listening to this.
And I thought my joke was bad.
Yeah, I can always take it down.
Noctua's super performance rating.
Standardized performance rating from Noctua. It's their own performance rating. They don't do TDPs. And if you look at their ratings, they have ranked their own coolers. So the most effective one has an NSPR of 183. That's the NHD15 Chromax Black SE AM4. Now you go down the list. Let's see, you've got like the U9 TR4 SP3 is 118. Okay. The low profile, like that NHL91, 59. AM4 version slightly better. 61. It's more copper. It's heavier. Way down at the very bottom, the least effective cooler they make, the NHP one for $109.90. So I ask you, if the cooler cannot even outperform the ultra low profile NHL91, as big and thick as it is, why? Why would you do this? I guess any fanless cooler is going to look bad compared to any active cooler pretty much, but
It just seems like you'd have to go out of your way to have like no case fans in order to make it that bad.
And then while you're at it, don't use a refrigerator because that makes noise, and don't have a dishwasher. Never run the water because water makes noise.
And for God's sakes, don't
breathe
flush.
out
I mean, you
loud.
might hear a toilet.
Flushing your toilet is obnoxious. That's like 50
No, and
decibels right there.
Whoever's running their AC or doing their laundry right now, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay, it's done.
And we're in the middle of summer, so you're not allowed to use a fan. It's not allowed.
Nope.
So yeah. Anyway.
What is this, Texas?
Yeah.
What about ground loop? What if we just have that run in the background all day long?
Oh, that's
Oh, there it
soothing.
is.
I could get used to that. As in, I could find exactly that frequency and remove it from the podcast. Or
It would be 60 hertz, by the way.
There's a range. There's harmonics. You can't just take out 60 hertz. It doesn't work.
Granted, that is probably true, but
Okay.
it'll be right around there.
By the way, let's
Just reminds me of the Be Quiet that I recently reviewed. At most fan speeds, the thing is bloody inaudible. You can't hear it over the power supply. You can't hear it over the other case fans that are running at like 600 RPMs. So, if this thing can't cool, what's the point?
I remember when I first reviewed a Scythe Ninja air cooler. It was a Ninja 4. And it had a switch on the fans. And then when I put it in the lowest setting, they were running at like 300 RPM, I think. I could not hear them. I was putting my ear on the fan to feel the vibration. It was weird because you could see the blades moving, but there was no sound being produced. And that was a very effective cooler. So just from my own experience of things like that, it's like I look at something like this. Like, I know there's fanless enthusiasts out there who the whole point is that there are no moving parts. I get it. And this is going to be paired with a Calm-X in every photo of every fanless build for the next 5 years. Because that one Calm-X, that Palette, I think it is, who makes the Calm-X series of passive cards, and the highest end one you can get is still the GTX 1050 Ti. It's going to be the GTX 1050 Ti Calm-X and the NHP one. And it's going to be a thermally throttled CPU that all of this stuff could perform better, and you wouldn't even be able to hear it, but it would defeat the purpose of being fanless, I guess.
You ever see that Streetcom? I think it's a Streetcom case, the all-aluminum one that actually has the heat pipes that come off the side of the case and the external.
Yeah.
It's a cube. It's kind of a raised cube. I think that's people. If you want that sort of thing, maybe think about that case. Look at the DB4 or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's very affordable too. I mean, the
how much is
fanless
it?
lifestyle it's such an affordable lifestyle because Kent, you're talking about that cooler that's like $30.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It does a great job, and this thing's 110. It's going to be like, well, I mean, if you have a 35,
Whatever happened to that
CPU?
Ionic Breeze thing that we went through for a while? Oh, it's a fanless case with active cooling via the Ionic Breeze. You were getting like a good cubic foot per hour or two.
And it also, does ozone. It's win-win.
I think that costs
Close
extra.
yourself in a room with that, and oh well.
Some of those air purifiers with the UV light, they're supposed to kill particles of whatever in the air. They make noise. They make kind of a high pitched. You know that anybody here sensitive to the noise of a CRT when the CRT's monitor is on? It's like a very high.
Can't
It
you
used to be.
guys-
I haven't heard one in a while.
Can't you guys hear your SSDs and your NVMEs on an open test bench? Because I can.
You can hear those.
Yeah. There's
know
something
that-
electrical going on.
You know that sound
Yeah,
when
I can hear it.
you're using, I think it's like I don't know if it's just an onboard audio thing, but you move your mouse to the left and to the right, and you're just like
Yeah.
sound
Yes.
for every mouse.
It's not the discs. I'm not really hearing the discs. There's some electrical
So it's the
disturbance
mouse.
going on during
It's the mouse
writes.
signals. Well, actually, very soon I didn't have it done tonight, but I'll have this review completed. Did you know that ASRock has solved everything for everybody? All this time we've been doing
Oh, do
it wrong.
tell.
Because their Z590 Tai Chi board has separate USB controllers for the keyboard and mouse input, so that you can Stop trying to, like, all these, their diagram shows these collisions, like literally they have like letters A, B, and C colliding with ones and zeros, and it's just this mess. Is all this time I've been doing it wrong. It takes me back to the days of a dedicated PS2 port for each peripheral.
I was going to say, I can finally move
the reason why
PS2 port.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the I/O characteristic was very different between USB and PS2. PS2 was an interrupt-driven I/O, and USB is on a bus that's polled I/O. So the way that the polling works is that the CPU wakes up and says, "Hey, do you got anything? Do you got anything? Do you got anything?" Whereas the interrupt was it ignored it until something came in, and then it stopped and serviced the request. So that's why real hardcore gamers still will use PS2 style ports, because it's interrupt driven. Moving on.
Okay, if we can move on to a beautiful looking case. Oh, did you know that I didn't even know that G.Skill made cases? Is this their first case, or am I just completely in the dark here? Not only is
it's their first pyramid shaped case,
but this is a beautiful looking enclosure. I don't know if everybody's going to like the aesthetics of it, but it is the Z5i. Look at the tasteful implementation of RGB in the logo in the lower left corner. Just
underglow.
It's got
there is underglow.
Look at this.
It's got wings.
That's kind of cool. Okay, that's
chamber
not
design.
terrible.
You can see that Founders Edition card kind of peeking out from the back there. So you've got the PSU and motherboard on one side. It's an SFX power supply, and on the other side you've got the GPU. But there's a vertical
you got a nice vertically mounted GPU.
Cooling consists, right, of two 140mm case fans, or up to a 280 AIO, venting to the rear of the case. Okay, I wonder about temperatures. I'm seeing a lot of
because they want to keep the front. Well, see, that's the thing. The top obviously has a bit of a mesh, so it's going to be pulling in from there and out the back. But if you're going to go with like a ridiculously clean front like they did, then you can't really have much venting, can you?
So where do you think the airflow movement needs to go in this? Is it, you think it's top out, or is it bottom?
I think it's going to be top and bottom out, because you look at there's some big holes in the floor of that.
Yeah.
There's a strip if you look on the. Look at all of them pixels falling apart. So when you look at the little video, they sort of show on the bottom that there is some space there. Well, it's blocked off nicely by that shot.
Okay, actually, the back is more vented than I thought.
Yes, no, the back is wide open.
Okay, although the glass always acts as an insulator, it has glass on both sides, but it is a nice looking case.
It is.
I'm just silently watching the YouTube video. Sorry to the.
Oh no, we're not supposed to be silent here. There really can't be any quiet. Somebody's headphones are feeding
your GPU.
Are feeding back into the mic, by the way.
Yeah. And the GPU is pulling from the bottom.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I see it.
You had me at ARGB mini-ITX. I mean, this is a lovely looking. The Z5i.
It's not you.
Mini-ITX.
You know what we don't know about it?
The price,
how big it is, and how much it costs.
I mean, we
can sort of guess based off the GPU.
Right.
Yeah. That Streetcom I was talking about a few minutes ago, it's stupid $315, so never mind. Forget I mentioned.
I actually thought it was more than that, but definitely over 300.
Yeah.
If you can find it in stock.
Great passive case, though, but expensive.
Yeah, for your 65 watt max CPU. Let's pause right here to hear from this week's podcast sponsor.
Hey, thanks for looking up for businesses out there. And as a business owner, especially a small business owner, you're busier than ever. Look, you're focused on maintaining, managing, and growth, and you don't always have time for recruiting. So check out LinkedIn Jobs to find and hire the best candidates for free. In the past, I've used the system to locate new positions and potential candidates, so give it a try. You can get started by posting your job for free to reach LinkedIn's network of over 740 million professionals. Their online forms have you fill out targeted screening questions to get your role found by the most qualified candidates with just the right experience, skills, and motivations you'll need. And afterwards, you'll be able to use their simple tools to filter and prioritize top candidates for further interviews. LinkedIn Jobs can help you hire the right person for your needs, and your first job post is now free. Just visit linkedin.com/PCPer. Again, That's linkedin.com/PCPer to post your first job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
We're back. And Jeremy, it's our weekly check-in with Jeremy to report on some new game. Although we just had E3, so you'd think there'd be a lot of new games. Although E3 was kind of...
Well, there was certainly a lot of what could be described as games released.
Yeah.
But
hey, anybody pre-order their
that
Switch
was
Pro?
just not good. That wasn't among the worst of the things that happened. I couldn't bring myself to watch it after catching little bits of things and then sort of catching a couple of guys on social media just, it was funnier to listen to them tear it apart than it was to watch anything.
Yes, true.
But remember when Bethesda said that they were going to do a space RPG a while back, and then nothing for probably 2 years or so? Well, now we know it's going to be Skyrim in space. Or Fallout with guns in space, if you prefer.
Wait,
now
Yeah, they're
everything is
releasing
described.
it. They're releasing it on
Skyrim with guns.
11/11/22, which is
How clever.
11 years after Skyrim. Because that was
it
11
really?
11 11. Yeah.
Oh.
I did not remember that.
Yeah, that was...
Josh, did you ever finish
No,
Skyrim?
I haven't finished
Josh?
it. No.
I know this one is sore spot, so I just wanted you to get that out there.
I did once, and I keep thinking I should go back and load it up with as many mods as I can, and I never actually do. There's just too many other
There's a
games
few
to play.
mods.
So yeah, they don't show us anything apart from a guy walking up a cargo ramp into his spacecraft, and some really interesting shots from inside the spacecraft. And then he wanders over and sits down in his pilot seat. And, that worked fairly well in the other planets. The ship was kind of interesting to walk through even after the 100th time of doing it. X4 did not do it well because you ended up just being stuck walking through animations you didn't want to with nothing you could actually do. So, I mean, it's gorgeous right now, but imagine you're walking in for the 100th time. And you have to climb a ladder. And you have to walk by this mess, which you're probably not even allowed to touch. In fact, one of the helmets even tells you not to touch it. And
Do not use.
you walk up. Do not use. So I don't know. It's obviously not in-game footage. It's kind of curious what it is that they're trying to sell us on here. And some people, they absolutely love memorizing the startup sequence of, flight sim in space, but others, perhaps might not be so interested. You get little robot buds, as you can see just off to the right of the ship there. And yeah, so this is about all we know. Is that it's going to be this.
Maybe it's
Or
just
not,
trying to
because-
prepare people for what colonization of Mars would actually be like, which would be like isolation and depression and doing the same thing every day until you just give up,
That does sound sort of like the gameplay in some of those games, yeah. So I think that might be what
Oh,
I'm going for.
I thought you were talking about life in general there. Sorry, I missed the...
I mean, that's
do
what's going to end up happening, I feel. It's like
Do you guys remember the first StarCraft preview trailer?
Yes.
Mm.
It was the guys in the ship, and they were scavenging out in space, and and it has absolutely nothing to do with the actual game itself.
Nope.
I remember,
Boy, was it gorgeous.
I put in my Diablo disc. It says, "Do you want to have the StarCraft, preview trailer?" And I did that, and I was like, "I'm never buying another game until StarCraft comes out." And 3 years later, StarCraft still hadn't come out. So I went back on that promise, and I actually never bought it until 2010.
And he's been bitter ever
And then
since.
you found out.
Ever since, I was mad. I was mad at that damn group,
Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
the cutscenes.
Well, then they forced you to play through three. Exactly. You had to play through 3 or 4 missions, and then you got to see the game that actually looked like the demo that they sent out originally. And then you went back to the top-down RTS again.
Yeah.
To Josh,
I love
at
you,
least
Sarge.
You are not into Star Citizen.
Oh no, that's an entire podcast in and of itself.
Yes.
Do you remember the movie Armageddon, where they picked up the Russian guy and he ends up going into the back of the ship and smashing stuff, going American, Russian, all made in China. Smashing. Maybe that's going to be in there. That would be great. That would be primo realistic.
Speaking of
Percussive maintenance.
Primo, Amazon Prime members, cloud
Yes,
gaming.
this is great.
You know, Stadia is such a hit, and it's
It's a zombie
Let's make
now.
more of that.
right. It's like people can't.
think-
get
it
enough
thinks
of
it's still
streaming
alive.
game services. I know, isn't that funny? Amazon Luna. I love it when on this podcast is the first time hearing of any of this. Cloud gaming for Prime members that want it, writes Jeremy Hellstrom. Tell me more.
Yeah, but you got to be a lunatic to think this is going to succeed. So yeah, you get a 7-day free trial, kicking off if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber next week, so 21st. After that, it's going to run you $6 a month. If you've got a Fire TV,
Or is it?
Well, we'll see how long it lasts. But yeah, so if you got a Fire TV, those dozens of you out there, it will appear there. Or it's supposed to run on Windows and Macs and iPads and iPhones and even a couple of Android phones, because there's nothing you want more than to play Metro Exodus on a cell phone on a cell signal. It's got to be a beautiful experience doing this. And the best part is that you're not actually going to be able to play that, because that $6 a month gives you a handful of games. If you want to play the Ubisoft catalog that they seem to be pushing quite strongly there, oh, well, you know, that's sort of going to be an extra $15 or so every month.
That's what I was talking about. That right there.
So, yeah. So, boom. Now you're at the $20 mark. Now they're talking about doing 1080p, but they're saying some titles in 4K without any more things. So I'm guaranteeing you that there will be now a 4K tier that you'll be able to pay for and be incredibly disappointed even if you're running a gig down, because, yeah, every single time this is tried, it's failed or failed horribly, somewhere in between those. Amazon, yes, you've got an amazing backbone. You've got a whole bunch of stuff in the background to be dealing with it. But if your guys are looking at it and going, okay, should we be prioritizing the corporate customers that are shooting us millions of dollars, or make sure that there's no stutter on this guy's control session? And yeah, if you tell me if that's going to be worth the $20 or so a month for however long it lasts. Oh, and there's a special controller too, if you want
Of
it.
course. That's
It's
Oh yeah,
$20 off for the
and it's not free.
Of course not. You got to pay for it. What is it? $45,
Yes.
$70, something like
It's
that.
more.
No,
yes.
it's $70, but
Like,
right now it's $50.
I like this. Nick
only
in the
for Prime
chat.
members though.
People love latency.
Only for-
yes. They do.
Yes.
That's why they can't get enough of these game
Actually,
streaming services.
What people really love is negative latency. I mean, I think that's where the love
That was
lies
Google's
right there.
key. That was the key to their success, and that's why it's been such a
Yes.
runaway
Yes.
hit.
I just don't see a
Yeah,
game streaming service like this succeeding until everybody has gigabit fiber, or at least everybody has access that wants it. And still, you're going to be looking at latency issues,
Yeah.
depending on how close or far away they are from, the hubs.
There's a particular type of game where this would work. You just can't do anything where... What is the most popular type of PC game? So PC enthusiasts who would follow our site or listen
Isn't
to
it
this podcast.
Fortnite?
Yeah, well, Fortnite, of course. But yeah, first-person shooters.
Right.
That's what drives this
First-person
entire
shooters, yeah.
industry. Going back to Doom and Quake.
Esports. Esports is
Well,
a close
that's
second.
true.
No. Candy Crush. This is a perfect game.
Not our
Well,
audience.
that's a legitimate handheld game. Though.
No, it is
I
not.
mean,
It is not a game. Okay, let's have this
Okay.
discussion. To be a
All right,
game,
all right. Shoot.
it must have a winning condition. You cannot win
Hmm.
Candy Crush. You can only advance to the next level. And
Hmm.
the idea,
Wait,
the
so
design of
Surviving
the
Mars
game
isn't a game?
is to keep you playing so that you will spend money with microtransactions to get the helpers that you need to get to the next level. There is no winning condition. It is not a game.
Sebastian, was Pac-Man a game?
Well, okay, old arcade games, their whole point was to get a high score.
That's a win condition?
No.
That's a win.
When you
it's
get
debatable.
to type
I guess
in
arcade games are a separate
ASS
thing.
at the very top.
So you're saying that
Your
you're
initials.
justifying Candy Crush as being a game
Hey,
because old arcade
Dragon's Lair.
cabinets didn't have save slots.
Dragon's Lair had an end.
It did.
Yep.
Yes, it did.
Well, it had a lot of ends, just most of them were you dying.
Wait, was this the Laserdisc game?
It was.
Yep.
It was you. It was you in a skeleton pile. That was how it ended.
Yeah, you think Dark Souls was mean. And that sucker was not a quarter in the arcades. It cost a
No,
wee
it was
bit more to play.
expensive.
How was it? Was it 75 cents?
It was 75 cents in my neck of the woods.
Wow.
I think it was 75
I was just glad they
cents.
hadn't invented loonies back then, or it would have been a
Right.
buck.
And did you get 60 seconds of play out of it?
No, you get 3 deaths.
Yeah. And that was possible to do immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could fall down the sewers, end up where the spikes were, and then that was all she wrote.
It was the fire
Unless you jumped
robes
really
were
good.
like one of the first ones.
Yeah.
You had to time that right and push the button, and yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yes.
moving along.
Let's move
Hey.
along to our
Hey.
featured review of the week. Kent is here with us.
Kent.
And he has taken some of the finest photos of one of the most interesting cases we've ever
With-
reviewed.
One of the worst names ever.
It grew on me as I kept like
It's
pasting stuff in and typing.
It's,
like,
it's a terrible name.
The
but-
SSUPD or SSUPD. Kent, he spends a good portion of his review, with some conjecture about what that might stand for. SSUPD, the Meshlicious mini-ITX case. Kent, please walk us through.
So I've not built in very many mini-ITX cases, but this was absolutely the smallest I've built into this point. But it was actually an amazing building experience, just because of the design of the case. It's actually, for something 14.6 liters, you'd think there's no way that's going to be a decent building experience. But I essentially built 3 systems in that case, 2 of them over a day and a half, basically. The 2 air-cooled systems, where I had the short graphics card with an ATX power supply in it. Then I had what I feel is going to be the most common use for the case, which is a CPU cooled by a 240 AIO and then an air-cooled graphics card, triple slot graphics card in it.
You don't think this is going to be the most common, the hardline build?
No, I don't. I think only true maniacs are going to attempt that. But because of the design, because all the panels on it are mesh or highly vented, except for the tempered glass on the model that I received, I would actually, unless you're doing a full hardline build in it, I would recommend just spending the $10 extra and getting mesh all the way around on this case. It's not that the temperatures were bad, but I just think you'll get better performance out of it, just going mesh all the way around. But when you remove the panels, the case is completely open. You can access everything in it very easily. And it's tiny. I wanted something that, I felt our audience could give a scale with, and what's better than a traditional pint of Irish lager?
Yeah, exactly.
English lager.
Oh, very.
That would be
That's
English.
the Iron Maiden. Isn't that Eddie there?
Yes.
I think.
That is.
How Kent-like of you.
Only bottle of beer. It's the only bottle of beer I own.
So here it is, all disassembled. We have the nice skeleton. mesh panels, and of course that one tempered glass panel, but it's available with... I found it kind of interesting that the all mesh version was actually $10 more than the version with tempered glass.
The way the panels are designed, I could kind of see it just cost them a little more money to make them. Probably not $10, but the fit and finish on this case was just absolutely top notch. When you clip the panels together, the gap where they meet is uniform and tight, and it's just really top quality case. For $119 for the all mesh version, the competing cases, they're very limited supply normally, low production levels, and they usually cost $200. In this case, it's just I was blown away by how great a building experience it was in this case, and I had decided that I was going to do a hardline build in it, and I was actually not looking forward, but even the hardline build was not bad. Just doing a little research ahead of time and knowing how much space I had for specific components, and just ordering the right fittings, and that made it actually a pretty much a breeze. I was able to put a fill port and a drain port in this little 14.6 liter case. And it's right over my right shoulder here right now.
Yeah, I see it glistening in the background.
Is it a glister or a glisten?
It's shimmering, maybe?
And
Is it
battery
powered?
now.
There we go.
Nope, it's got a power cord on it.
Oh, it's Wii.
Right now. Right now, I actually believe it is more heavy than the cinder block that is about the same size as the...
Yes,
So I'm
don't
going to
drop
put it
it.
back down.
But look
Kent,
at,
will this be a keeper for you for a while? Are you going to kind of live with it, or what are you going to do here?
It is on my wife's desk as her daily system. Not right now, but since I completed the build and made sure there were no leaks or anything. But yeah, it's been her system since then. So Ryzen 5800X, Crucial Ballistic Max 4000 RAM, and 2080 Ti for the Win 3 Hydro Copper.
oh, no big deal. Look at this. This build looks like a contest winner. Like, it's just pretty incredible set of components here.
Yeah,
And
the price is right.
Yeah. And then, of course, you did more than one build in it, as we'll see. You did more of a conventional build. Here it is with that alternate GPU mount. I see. Because you can do full-length cards with these compact little cards.
If you do that style in it, you do have to get a different riser cable. The riser cable that comes with it is not long enough for that, which I found very strange.
Huh.
Interesting. But really, why would you not use a full-length card in a case like this?
Well, no, but it's just like the 1 millimeter too short is just vicious.
Yeah. And great photo, by the way. This is probably the best photo you could have taken of something so... It's the way that the connectors have to... You have an included 90-degree HDMI cable. No 90-degree display port, unfortunately.
Yes, that was disappointing. And I will tell you, that was hard to source.
Yeah, you'd probably have to use an adapter, but I've never even seen a 90-degree display port adapter, I don't think.
I'm sorry, Kent,
Amazon
did you say you had to source this cable, or this came with the case?
No, it doesn't come with a display port 90 degree.
That is a display port cable. It comes with it depends on the use case, really, but the HDMI cable that it comes with is only 4 feet long, so it's very short.
That seems wrong.
Yeah.
At least you can get extensions for those easily enough. But
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
so here we have a completed build
Um,
with a conventional 240 millimeter. Looks like a cooler master of some kind.
mhm.
SFX power supply. There's plenty of room in here.
There's plenty of room.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really cable manage that build super tightly. I just sort of pulled things out of the way
Yeah.
of where they weren't getting into contact with any fans, just to show how I felt most people were probably going to build if they got this case. And it was honestly a super easy experience. And that's a 1080 Ti. Actually, it used to be an Arctic Storm Zotac, which was their largest, most powerful card, and took the water block off of it and put the Arctic Cooler aftermarket on there. And so that's a huge card, and you can see that it fits. It's almost fully triple slot deep, and I think the total length of that card is about 330 millimeters.
Okay.
So it's huge, and it fit, and it worked fine, and that was an easy build.
What about the fact that it's pointing the GPU down? So if you had any card that has rear exhaust, it doesn't really have anywhere to go. There's a gap down there, but it's not big.
No, if you had a blower style card, I probably would not recommend this case.
There's no way to mount it going out the other way, right? You'd have to turn the whole case upside down.
You'd have to turn the whole case upside down. I mean, you could conceivably put like spacers under the feet to lift it up. The feet that are on it are very short. It's really not designed to have any exhaust or intake at the bottom.
Why is your case sitting on a fan?
The Reference 30 series from NVIDIA, that rear fan is actually a blower. So those would not be a good fit for this, it would seem.
Right.
I guess you have to put custom feet on it and kind of, I don't know. But let's talk about performance, because we're to that point in the, as I'm scrolling here. This is no like small test, because you run OCCT, set small FFTs 30 minutes for CPU. GPU is Unigine Heaven, extreme 1080p for 30 minutes in a 23 degrees Celsius room. And look at this, compared to the open test bed with the same components, CPU temperatures barely rise.
From the GPU.
Yep, GPU goes up, but it only goes up 7 degrees. But again, you had the one with tempered glass on that side. So
no, on that test, the tempered glass was on the CPU side.
Okay.
Because the CPU was using the AIO in front.
Gotcha.
So the mesh was over the graphics card.
Okay.
So it's swappable is what you're saying. You could have the tempered glass on either side.
Oh yeah. You can put the glass on either side.
So another look at this glorious hardline build. Now you're talking about the fit and finish, those kind of snap-on connectors. This company is a like sister company to Lian Li. I'm assuming it's like the same like tooling, and
it's as good as any Lian Li case I've personally experienced.
And you gave
that that low profile cooler pump there. That's a Barrow, isn't it?
That's a Barrow, and that
manufacturer
China.
Oh, well, okay.
But that you could do a full loop in this case with a standard reservoir and pump, DTC pump, if you planned everything right. But that little item made that build go so much more easily. Just having the pump and reservoir attached to the CPU block and go from there.
Nice build, Ken.
Yeah, very nice. And I feel like there's so many possibilities for that case, especially if you get the all mesh one, because then having dealt recently in some cases that are vented on all sides, it's just whatever components you want to put into it. Noise levels are going to be completely component dependent at that point because it doesn't come with any fans. So,
depending on
Could it
what
fit
if
that
you're
giant
wanting to-
Thermaltake passive cooler?
The only issue I've noticed is
panel off.
the only issue I've noticed in some of the smaller cases is the position sometimes of where the radiator versus like an AIO pump might be and which thing is physically higher, due to like a gravity situation of where the air bubbles might end up. So I've noticed certain cases kind of force you to position certain things in a suboptimal way sometimes.
Yeah,
Especially the
I
small
think
cases too.
The best way on this one would be running, and that's generally the best way, is running the tubes to the bottom of the radiator from the AIO. Depending on what you're wanting to do, if you're wanting to build a sort of a low power system or, an HTPC with some storage and a short graphics card, it might not be the best case. You could do it in this. I think most scenarios, I think most people are going to want to use an AIO on the CPU because it's only, depending on where you position the motherboard tray, it's only about 73 millimeters maximum CPU cooler height. So you can't get a big air cooler on it. So if you're wanting to run a higher power CPU, you're going to want to run an AIO. But with the way the other side's designed, you could put as big of an air-cooled graphics card in there as you wanted to, run an AIO on the CPU, and you could have a beast of a system in a form factor that takes up 0.44 square feet of your desk.
well, that is the What does SSUPD stand for officially?
Oh, why don't you read what he
something to
says
do
it
with,
stands for?
a movie.
It's worth reading the review just to find all of the little Easter eggs as he just throws in as a little aside, like.
I think there's a Sharon Stone quote in there.
Yeah,
well, not
there
a
is,
quote, but
and there's
That kind of
observation.
has to be.
There's insulting me and my delinquency with getting the podcast up on time, apparently, at times.
Did he call you delinquent? Did he really
did.
call you delinquent?
I thought it was going to be diligent.
also-
Like Sebastian gets the podcast up diligently. No. It's like Sebastian something.
He didn't call you delicious. Don't
Apparently,
complain
it's
too
been
much.
nice. It's been nice joining you all from what will be my final podcast. Apparently,
It's okay. I can take
and
it.
it's only 50% of the time is it his fault.
Right.
The other half is mine. That was my fault.
All right. Well, check out the review. A lot of photos and a very, very impressive build in there. But let's move on to our last segment. It's Picks of the Week. And Josh,
Picks.
what do you have for us?
I may have done this some months ago, but it's on sale again, and it's the it's the least expensive LG OLED 55-inch CX 2020 model, and it's under $1,300 now. I think Newegg may have it for a little cheaper, but not much.
This one says used.
Wait, what?
It says buy used, like new, sold by G Overstock.
Oh, you can. Anyway, well, shoot.
Hold on.
Oh.
I'm looking at what Best Buy has. I think this is the same model. Is this the...
Yeah, it doesn't support Luna, though.
Let's see. Best Buy has it for $12.99. What's funny is, if you look over here, the 48...
Well, that's the BX, not the CX.
Oh, okay. The BX. So you can get a BX for $12.99. The 48-inch CX is $12.99. There's a lot of OLEDs now because we have like years colliding, and there's the C and the B and the new A series.
apparently the new LG OLEDs are going to be amazing. And they didn't pay me to say that.
Yeah, the
'cause here's
BX is $12.97 at Newegg,
Is it?
and the CX is $100 more.
Okay.
There's
worth
a
it?
comment in YouTube chat that says that LG is doing has a situation where some sellers that are under MSRP have to set them as used
That makes sense.
in order to
Yep.
kind of sidestep the the reason why we're under your MSRP is because this isn't new, when in fact it may very well be new. That sounds unfortunately legitimate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I still want one. Not going to happen anytime soon, but I still want OLED. Get that good HDR going with the Xbox Series X. Yes. And finally get that Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, the 4K. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. Jeremy, I need a link. Your link does not exist.
I wanted to see if you
not
got signed out of Gmail or not.
Dang it. Oh.
Oh
Does
man,
it do more now?
That's
I did
cold.
notice that
No, I-
Firefox updated itself, and I don't like it.
No, it's ugly as all
Yes,
sin.
it is.
I really don't like the bumped out tabs. No. Have you noticed that in your Gmail, you now have a whole crap load more apps?
Really?
This is something that I thought was a little bit weird, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's a PC perspective thing, and I checked out my personal one, and no, I now have a whole bunch of fun little things that used to be only included in the G Suite. And apparently this is actually a thing, and they've rebranded it as Google Spaces, I think it is. So essentially, if you've got Gmail, you now have no need for going out and buying Office 365 unless you're really in love with Microsoft's interface, because you got just about every single one of the things that you'd want from them for free attached to your Gmail account. It's very obvious that I saw a lot this week that I wanted to pick if that's what I had to go with, if you hadn't figured that out. But
Yeah.
I thought it was worth mentioning because probably just about everyone's got it. And so it's, nice to have a little bit more free usability.
I just took the high road this week, and I just didn't have a pick at all. But Brett did.
I did, and I went with this little guy right here because it's been
the tug hair.
The tug hair. It's been a very effective cooler on a heavily overclocked 8600K that I've been using as a gaming PC, and it's not very big. It's got a couple of really quiet fans on it. It hardly makes any noise at all. These are wonderful fans, surprisingly, and it works really great. So I thought I would talk it up and say you guys should take a look at it.
$60 on Amazon.
Yep,
With
and it's the
a
dual
high
fan unit.
performance copper heat. Oh yeah, 2 fans. So that's not bad.
Two
Up to
fans.
2000
It's pretty
RPM.
good.
Says it does 180 watt TDP.
Yep.
Now you're not using it with the right CPU. The only thing that our audience probably cares about is how does it perform with like a 5800X.
Well, it would be much better actually because it's cooler. It's cooler. Yeah, well, because it's in my opinion, it's a good example because it runs very hot. So if it actually keeps it, all right, so it's not a good example in your world.
Look, Intel,
but it does a fine job on a hot Intel chip. It would be fantastic on an AMD chip.
See, not
I didn't mean it like that.
You're not being passive aggressive when you talk about how fantastic it is.
I'm not. So yeah, it's not an expensive cooler. It's been working great. Give that a look.
Hey, speaking of fantastic, how about Fantastic? That's what it says on my screen. Fantastic price protection for this offer. Kent, tell us more.
It's true. It's a new thing. It's all over the place now.
It's all over the place. Fantastic. If you're looking for 12 cores and 24 threads in your CPU and you're wanting 7 nanometer architecture, the 5000 series is kind of hard to get in the 5900X, but the 3900X is still out there, pretty easy to get, and at a really good price at the moment on Newegg at $419.99.
Back ordered, but it's coming in soon. It says you can order up to 2 per customer. It's coming in stock on June 18th.
Oh, it was not back ordered earlier today.
It's too good of a deal. $419 for a 12 core, 24 thread part. Yeah, it's not as fast as the 5900X, but you can actually buy it and it's cheaper. So,
yep.
what's wrong with that?
I was going to pick the H510 Elite that you reviewed because it was on a bit of a sale, and I saw that fantastic price protection. Had no idea what the hell was going on.
It's super fin FET tech protection for your 10 nanometer Intel CPUs.
What about your 14 nanometer plus?
Isn't that what Superfin is, really? Just rebranding the same. Okay. That's our show, I think. Because that was Picks of the Week, and that's it. We're out. It's been a quick one. We've only been recording for about an hour. And I don't know what to say. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. I actually get to go to bed at a reasonable time.
You do.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening.
I can watch the third period.
Yeah, you can.
How about that?
There's probably sports going on somewhere in the world.